My crush asked me to donate a kidney to his first love. I have loved Ethan Carter for 10 years, and the surging love I have had since my youth has never stopped. For him, I threw away my dignity and restrained my edge just to be able to stay with him for a long time. But he asked me to donate a kidney to his white moonlight when I was pregnant. At that time he looked down at me. As long as you agree to donate a kidney to her, I will marry you. Don't you dream of marrying me? I finally came to my senses, let go of my obsession and left him completely. Later, Ethan Carter begged me to forgive him like a madman. Arya, as long as you agree to donate a kidney to Vanessa, I will marry you. Don't you dream of marrying me? Ethan Carter held my wrist tightly and looked at me confidently. Yes, I have imagined countless times the scene of my marriage with Ethan Carter. I was wearing a pure white wedding dress. My father held my hand and walked me down the red carpet. I gave my hand to him and then we kissed and made vows to stay together forever. But now that my father is dead, I don't love him anymore. Ethan Carter and I met when we were young. My father died in a car accident at that time, and my mother brought me to live in Carter's house. There is no romantic love between princes and princesses, nor is there the understanding and companionship of childhood sweethearts. Because my mother was the Carter family's live-in nanny, and Ethan Carter was the young master who grew up in the Carter family's palm. There was inequality between him and me from the beginning. What separated us was not only the family gap, but also two hearts that could never resonate with each other. After my father passed away, my mother changed overnight. She became suspicious of everything. She always woke me up in the middle of the night and told me over and over again how I was different from other children. She taught me how to disquinize myself and please others when I was living under someone else's roof. Growing up in this environment, I developed a cowardly and inferior character. I didn't dare to fight or rob. The first lesson my mother taught me was to learn to accept what was given to me. Probably the bravest thing I have ever done in my life is to agree to Ethan Carter's courtship. I knew that he pursued me just to piss off Vanessa Reed, the girl he loved but couldn't have. But I looked into his eyes and somehow agreed. Maybe it was the atmosphere, or maybe I just followed my heart and succumbed to my desires. I vividly remember the scene of that day. It was a rainy night. At 1 o'clock in the morning, Ethan Carter had not returned yet. I was worried about him, so I rushed into the rain with an umbrella. As soon as I walked out of the villa, I saw the driver, Uncle Wong, walking over with Ethan Carter. He was drunk and reeked of alcohol. I went over to support him, but Ethan Carter frowned and pushed me away. Arya, Miss Sue is going to study abroad. The young master is in a bad mood today and drank a little. Ethan Carter had prepared for his confession tonight for a long time. Judging from his attitude, he must have been rejected by Vanessa Reed. Looking at Ethan Carter's sad eyes, a trace of shameful joy quietly crept into my heart. I cooked a bowl of hangover-relieving soup for Ethan Carter. While waiting for the soup to boil, I carefully looked at the boy lying on the sofa. Only at this moment did I dare to look at him so unscrupulously. My eyes slid from his sharp eyebrows, then to his straight nose, and then down to his thin red lips. I was gradually fascinated by him, and before I could react, I had already reached out and touched his lips. I felt a soft touch on my fingertips, and just as I was about to move down, someone grabbed my wrist tightly. I don't know when Ethan Carter woke up. He looked at me quietly, his eyes moving, and I was unconsciously drawn to him. Ethan Carter has a pair of affectionate peach blossom eyes. Even before I realized my love, I would often stare into his eyes in a trance, let alone now. What do you want to do? Ethan Carter looked at me jokingly. My face turned completely red. Just as I was thinking about the intercourse between heaven and man, Ethan Carter suddenly came over. He put his hand on my forehead and interlocked my fingers. Arya, come with me. His tone was still as nonchalant as ever. My heart was about to move, but my mind told me that what men say after drinking is often not to be trusted. You're drunk, I muttered. Are you willing? Ethan Carter ignored me and just stared at me stubbornly, as if he was seeing through me. Looking into Ethan Carter's eyes, I finally nodded. Just consider it as an explanation for my decades of secret love for you. In this way, Ethan Carter and I began living together. We moved into a large flat in the city center. Ethan Carter jokingly said that this was the wedding house prepared for him by his family, and it is now coming in handy. I just smiled. I knew very well in my heart that I should not be and would not be the mistress of this house. Life is a time for confusion. I have been timid for all these years, so let me truly live for myself for once. Every night Ethan Carter and I would sleep in each other's arms. We would kiss in front of the French window, make love in the bathroom, and every corner of the house was left with traces of our love. We did all the intimate things like countless couples, but I knew that I had never really entered Ethan Carter's heart. He would often stare at my face in a daze as if he was missing someone else through me. In the days that followed, I often thought that if I hadn't had the urge to clean Ethan Carter's study that day, I wouldn't have discovered the bloody truth. I might have continued to play dumb and play the role of the lover in Ethan Carter's mind. That day when I was helping him clean the bookcase, a photo floated before my eyes. It was a photo of Ethan Carter and Vanessa Reed. In the photo, Vanessa Reed was nestled in Ethan Carter's arms, smiling like a flower. Ethan Carter looked at Vanessa Reed with a doting look on his face, a look I had never seen before. Ethan Carter usually looks cold when he looks at people, and only when facing Vanessa Reed will he reveal his tender side. What frightens me the most is that Vanessa Reed has a face that is extremely similar to mine. But she and I are completely different types of people. She is cheerful and generous and grew up being pampered. I am timid and cowardly, and I learned to live my life by reading other people's faces at a very young age. I clutched the photo tightly, my fingers turning white from the force. Is Ethan Carter with me because my face looks so much like Vanessa Reed? Did he think of me as Vanessa Reed's substitute? I didn't have the courage to ask Ethan Carter. I was clinging to this fleeting beauty, so I calmly put the photo back where it belonged. But I only realized later that the beginning of one thing often means the end of another. The end is forever. I prepared dinner as usual and sat at the dining table waiting for Ethan Carter to get off work. Waiting is what I do best. I looked at my phone. It was already 9 o'clock and Ethan Carter hadn't come back yet. A bad feeling flashed through my mind. Sure enough, the next second Ethan Carter called. "Aria, I have to work overtime tonight, so I won't go back for dinner. You don't have to wait for me." There was a woman's laugh from the other end of the line. It was very soft, but I still heard it. "Oh." I responded lightly. A few minutes later, the phone received an unfamiliar MMS. It's a photo. A photo of two people holding hands. I know the hands of the man in the photo by heart. The ring on his ring finger was the one I personally put on Ethan Carter on our first anniversary of our relationship. They were a pair of couple rings and the other one was on my hand. The intention of the owner of this anonymous message is self-evident. It is a naked declaration of war. Sure enough, the next second another message popped up. "What's mine is mine and no one can take it away from me. Vanessa Reed is back." It took me a long time to accept this fact. That night, when Ethan Carter came back, I had already crawled into bed. After washing up, Ethan Carter hugged me as usual and he buried his head in the crook of my neck. I moved slightly and Ethan Carter's arms around me slowly tightened. He said in a hoarse voice, "Did I wake you up? I have something urgent tonight, so I can't come back to accompany you." I didn't respond to him and Ethan Carter just thought that I was still angry about what happened tonight. He began to kiss my neck and moved his way down. "Let's separate." Ethan Carter paused suddenly, then raised his head and looked into my eyes. "Are you still angry?" He leaned over and kissed me on the lips. "Don't be angry. I bought you the necklace you said you liked at the last auction. I'll have my assistant deliver it to you tomorrow." After all these years, Ethan Carter still doesn't understand. What I want is not material wealth, but spiritual satisfaction. What I want is his sincerity. But he was a miser despite his immense wealth and never gave me a cent of his favor. In his eyes, I am well-behaved and sensible, not competitive. I will make him hangover soup, prepare dinner at home for him to get off work, and iron his suit every morning for him to wake up. Perhaps Ethan Carter has always had a scale in his heart, and my meticulous care over the years has already melted his heart. I am a good wife in his life, but I am not his only lover. "Who are you with tonight?" I noticed that Ethan Carter's body suddenly became stiff and he stammered, "Vanessa Reed is back, right?" Ethan Carter lowered his head and remained silent. "I'm sorry." He hugged me so hard that he wanted to crush me. "I promise there won't be a next time." Ethan Carter promised me firmly. I really want to reject Ethan Carter, but this is the man I have loved for more than 10 years. It is not easy to be cruel and cut the Gordian knot. What's more, I really want to see how much I mean to him. After that day, Ethan Carter seemed to have really lost contact with Vanessa Reed. He started to go home on time for dinner, started to proactively report his itinerary to me, and even when he was drinking and socializing he would take the initiative to video chat with me. I was in a trance for a moment as if we were back in the honeymoon period. That day was also a rainy night. It was Ethan Carter and I's 5th anniversary of love, and I carefully prepared a candlelight dinner. The originally ambiguous and romantic atmosphere was interrupted by a phone call. Ethan Carter glanced at me first, then quickly hung up. But after a few seconds the phone rang again. A trace of anxiety flashed across Ethan Carter's eyes, and he pretended to hang up again. "Answer it," I said calmly. "Arya, it's a work call, let me handle it." Ethan Carter went to the balcony in a panic. I ate my meal calmly, and a few minutes later Ethan Carter came over with an apologetic look on his face. "Arya, I'm sorry. Something happened to Vanessa Reed and I can't just ignore her." This is the second time, I thought to myself. This was the second time Ethan Carter chose her between me and Vanessa Reed. I raised my head and looked at him pleadingly. "Today is our anniversary, can you not go?" My voice became smaller and smaller and less confident. "I'm sorry." Ethan Carter rushed into the pouring rain without even having the time to look at me. I smiled bitterly. It turned out that in Ethan Carter's heart, no matter how hard I tried, I would never be as good as Vanessa Reed. He could happily abandon me for Vanessa Reed. Turns out that all of this was just my wishful thinking. I have never been Ethan Carter's first choice. If that's the case, then what else do I have to be nostalgic about? I went into the bedroom and started packing. Half an hour later Ethan Carter came back with Vanessa Reed, who was soaking wet. Ethan Carter rushed into the room and shouted at me, "Arya, can you make some ginger tea for Vanessa Reed, the same kind you made for me before? She's been in the rain for a long time, and she needs some ginger tea to drive away the cold." I felt like laughing. What does Ethan Carter think of me? I'm not magnanimous enough to be a babysitter for my love rival. "Arya, are you packing? Where are you going?" Ethan Carter looked at me, who was packing my luggage, without saying a word, and finally panicked. He pulled me into his arms. "Answer me, where are you going?" "I'm making room for you. Didn't you bring people back?" I said calmly, forcing a smile. "Arya, things are not what you think. Vanessa Reed was drunk and I am her only friend here. And if it's not a one-of-a-kind love, I'd rather not have it." After work that day I found Ethan Carter's Rolls-Royce at the company gate. Ethan Carter leaned against a camphor tree by the roadside, his brows relaxed like a rich landscape painting. Come to think of it, this was the first time he came to the company to pick me up after get-off work since I was with him. It turned out that it wasn't that he couldn't, he just felt it was unnecessary. "Arya, I'm here to take you home." Ethan Carter took my bag naturally and held my hand as usual. "We've broken up." I calmly pulled my hand away and took a step back. Ethan Carter sighed, his tone revealing impatience. "You haven't had enough of the fuss yet? I'm really tired lately." "Carter, Ethan, I'm not being unreasonable. From the moment you left me and walked towards Vanessa Reed, there was no possibility for us anymore." After saying that, I took back my bag and turned to leave. Ethan Carter drove slowly behind me. It was the evening rush hour and the cars behind me honked frequently, with drivers opening their windows and looking out from time to time. I had no choice but to compromise. No matter what, I couldn't affect public order. I opened the passenger door and got in. I smelled a strong sweet aroma and found a lot of breadcrumbs in the gap between the car doors. Ethan Carter has a serious obsession with mysophobia and he never allows me to eat in his car. One time I had hypoglycemia and felt dizzy. So I took out the chocolate I carried with me from my bag, but before I could even open the bag Ethan Carter angrily scolded me. "Arya, I don't like any other smell in my car." I opened my mouth to explain, but Ethan Carter had already turned his head to the window, looking unhappy. Since then I have never eaten in Ethan Carter's car again. But now he easily gave his indulgence to others. That day I dropped Vanessa Reed off on her way to work. She didn't have breakfast and had an upset stomach, so Ethan Carter explained when he saw me staring at the breadcrumbs. "Carter, Ethan." I closed my eyes. "Did you know that I have hypoglycemia?" Ethan Carter turned his head and looked at me in surprise without saying a word. Obviously he didn't know. "We have been together for 5 years and I know every one of your preferences. You don't like garlic, onions, and you can't stand the smell of coriander. You like winter melon and pork ribs soup the most, and you like your steak medium rare. You don't drink milk because you are lactose intolerant. You have a bad stomach and can't eat fried food. You are allergic to cold air and your rhinitis will relapse when the seasons change. I talked a lot, and with every sentence Ethan Carter's face became darker. Arya. Ethan Carter closed his eyes with a look of pain on his face. Look, we've been together for so long, but you don't understand me at all. You just enjoy my efforts and indulge in my admiration. But I'm tired and I don't want to love you anymore. When I got off the car, Ethan Carter didn't try to keep me. Instead, my mother, who hadn't contacted me for years, called me and asked me to come home for dinner. I have been homeless since my father passed away. The so-called home was actually just a small single room given to us by the Carter family. Needless to say, I know who did this, but I still went back. It was not easy for my mother to raise me alone all these years. As soon as I arrived at the door of Carter's villa, I saw Ethan Carter waiting under the street light. The light stretched his fiquinra very long, adding a sense of loneliness. Arya, you're back. Ethan Carter perked up as soon as he saw me, his eyes full of hope. Master Carter. I nodded at him. Ethan Carter was stunned for a long time when he heard this name. This was what my mother told me when I first came to the Carter family. After I became familiar with Ethan Carter, I never called him like that again. Later we fell in love and our relationship became closer, so I put this name aside for nearly 5 years. Do you really have to do this? We've broken up, I repeated. I don't agree to break up and my aunt won't agree either. Ethan Carter looked up at me seriously, his eyes red. Carter, Ethan, love requires two people's approval, but breaking up only requires one person's decision. My mother can't make the decision for me. Ethan Carter knew that I was serious this time. He remained silent with tears in his eyes. What are these two kids doing outside? The meal is ready. Come in. My mother opened the door and called out to us. I quickly composed myself and responded with a smile. Ethan Carter and I entered the restaurant one after the other. At the dinner table, my mother brought up the topic seemingly casually. Arya, you and Ethan have been in love for so many years. It's time to consider getting married. Ethan Carter nodded in agreement. Uncle Carter agreed? I asked in surprise. Carter, Ethan's father, Carter Jecheon, has always looked down on me. He dislikes that I am the daughter of his nanny and not a good match for his beloved son. Ethan Carter moved out of the Carter family because of this. It would be extremely difficult for Carter Jecheon to accept me. Sure enough, as soon as I said this, Ethan Carter and my mother tacitly stopped talking. No matter what, your Uncle Carter has paid for your tuition since you were a child. If it weren't for his connections, you wouldn't have been able to get into an aristocratic school, let alone have the job and achievements you have today. So don't be so petty. You and Ethan must get along well. This is using the Carter family's kindness to put pressure on me. According to what my mother said, she wants me to be Ethan Carter's mistress who can't be seen in public? Mom, I won't be a mistress. My mother's face turned pale. Why are you so harsh in your words, kid? You are still so stubborn after all these years. Is that what I meant? Okay then. If you ask Ethan Carter to cancel the engagement and stay away from his fiancée, I will agree to marry him. Ethan Carter didn't dare to make a sound, and my mother just lowered her head and ate her food without saying a word. The atmosphere suddenly became dead silent. I will pay Uncle Carter back as soon as possible for the money he has sponsored me to study over the years. Mom, I won't make things difficult for you, and I also want you to stop forcing me. I want to decide my own life. The meal was boring, so I picked up my bag and ran out of the door. I had a rare sleepless night and I was a little tired when I went to work the next day. When I entered the office, I saw the girls gathered together excitedly talking about something. I grabbed a Kaliaquin with whom I had a good relationship and asked him some questions. Arya, you are really out of touch with the news. Our company's new general manager is coming today. This young master is the only son of the Quinn Group, and I heard he is a returnee. Most importantly, this man has a handsome face that is so... When it was time to get off work, I grabbed my bag and prepared to leave, but was caught by Nathaniel, who was waiting at the door. Arya, we haven't seen each other for so many years. Don't you plan to catch up with me? Nathaniel looked at me with a hurt face. I racked my brains but couldn't figure out what history this prince and I could have. But I still followed Nathaniel with my head lowered. After all, he is my direct leader now, and I don't want to offend him as soon as I arrive. 1 Americano, 1 cappuccino, no sugar, room temperature. In the coffee shop, Nathaniel placed the order skillfully. After the waiter left, Nathaniel and I were left staring at each other. I cleared my throat and started looking for a topic. I didn't expect you to remember my preferences and know that I don't drink sugar in my coffee. Upon hearing this, Nathaniel raised his eyebrows, seeming a little confused. That's for myself. The air suddenly froze. Oh really? Ah, what a coincidence. I laughed awkwardly. Nathaniel looked at me and said, it seems like you've been doing pretty well these years. I flicked my hair and said, let's just muddle through. I remember you worked very hard back then, doing nothing but solving exercises every day. When you finally had some free time, you had to serve the young master Ethan Carter. When I heard Ethan Carter's name from Nathaniel, I was stunned. Nathaniel's face didn't look good either. He gritted his teeth and added, you are a good person in every way, but your vision is not very good. I looked at Nathaniel's blushing face and inexplicably found him cute. I quickly defended myself. No, I have nothing to do with him now. Nathaniel suddenly raised his head, his eyes sparkling with stars. You broke up with him? I looked into Nathaniel's eyes and nodded mechanically. Nathaniel's eyes made me uncontrollably think of Ethan Carter when he was a teenager. His eyes were also full of stars at that time. The boy, wearing a black and white school uniform, rode past me on his bike. The wind blew up his clothes, the sun shone on him, and I looked up to meet his clear eyes. During those few seconds when we looked at each other, I could hear my heartbeat, deafening. People don't live a lifetime, they only live a few moments. In the past, I seem to have always lived in the moments with Ethan Carter. When did it start to change? Ethan Carter is no longer the pure white boy in my memory. He has been fighting in the business world over the years, and the stars in his eyes are gone. Now there are many things in his eyes that I cannot understand. He cares about a lot of things: money, power, fame. He and I drifted further and further apart, and there was no more writing to each other. On the contrary, Nathaniel, after all these years of trials and tribulations, still retains the heart of a young man. Looking into his eyes, I always think of Ethan Carter back then. It's a pity that I wanted to buy some osmanthus flowers and put them in the wine, but it doesn't resemble the time when I was young. The clerk's voice interrupted my thoughts. Nathaniel placed the cup of sugar-free room temperature cappuccino in front of me. My eyes welled up as I saw the cautious look of the man in front of me. How ironic. Nathaniel knows that I have a bad stomach and cannot drink ice water, but my boyfriend, with whom I have slept for 5 years, doesn't know. The atmosphere became lively again and I asked the questions in my mind. I heard that the Quinn Group is developing rapidly overseas. Why are you returning to China at this critical moment? Nathaniel gave me a meaningful look and said, because of someone, I want to give myself a chance. Nathaniel's incoherent words left me confused. I haven't heard that Nathaniel has a girlfriend in the country in these years. I didn't take this matter to heart. After reminiscing about the past, Nathaniel offered to take me home. I wanted to refuse him, but Nathaniel seemed to have witnessed what I was thinking. I'm new here and don't know much about this company. I'd like to take this opportunity to trouble you to tell me about it. Nathaniel winked at me. Turned out to be because of this matter. I patted my chest and said, leave it to me. I will tell you everything I know. Nathaniel's car stopped in front of me. I opened the back door and was about to get in. Nathaniel's uncomfortable voice reached my ears. Do you really think I'm the driver? Sit in the front. I slapped my forehead and forgot about it. Fortunately, the person sitting in front of me was Nathaniel. If it was a different leader, he would definitely fire me. I resigned myself to my fate and got out of the car, swiftly opening the passenger door. Nathaniel's bony hands rested casually on the steering wheel, tapping it lightly and rhythmically, and his Adam's apple slid up and down. For some reason, I always felt that he was a little nervous. This nervous feeling was inexplicably transmitted to me, and I discovered to my great amazement that I couldn't fasten my seat belt at all. Just when I was fiddling around at a loss, a pair of large hands brushed across the back of my hands and helped me put it on. I felt the warmth of the man's palm and my face flushed unconsciously. Nathaniel's palm was rough and covered with calluses. The moment my skin touched his, an electric current went through my arm and went straight to my heart. Nathaniel quickly turned his face away, and I saw his face red to his ears in the mirror. This person seems to be different from the impression I have of him. He has a face that looks like a bad Quinny, but I didn't expect him to be so innocent. He became so shy just by touching hands. They were silent all the way, and when they were almost home, Nathaniel suddenly spoke. Why didn't you come back then? I somehow heard a hint of grievance in his low voice. I was confused and looked at him bewilderedly. What did you say? Nathaniel stared at me for a while, and seeing that I really didn't know, he spoke aggrievedly. On the day of the graduation ceremony, I put a letter in your desk and asked you to meet me in the auditorium. I waited from day to night, but you didn't show up. Wait, you put the letter in my desk? Back then, Ethan Carter didn't like the food in the cafeteria, so I prepared lunch boxes from home and brought them to school every day. Ethan Carter would come to me every day at mealtime to get them. So it was Ethan Carter who took the letter. Nathaniel had obviously thought of this as well. He cursed inwardly, then stopped the car on the side of the road and took a deep breath. He turned to look at me, and the distance between us became very close in an instant. So close that I could feel his rapid breathing, so close that when I looked up I could see my own reflection in his clear eyes. Nathaniel's heartbeat was very fast, especially in this small space. So what's your answer? Nathaniel lifted my chin and forced me to look directly at him. Arya, you are a smart person, you know what my problem is. You just ended a bad relationship. It is impossible for you to accept me so quickly. But I have to admit that I disrupted my carefully prepared plan tonight. As soon as I saw you, I couldn't help but want to be closer to you. I don't want the regrets of my youth to happen again. I want to replace Ethan Carter and stay by your side. Can you accept me? I was deeply moved by Nathaniel's confession. In the past 25 years, I have never experienced such a deep love. I am used to loving others without asking for anything in return, and I am used to giving silently. But one day, there was such a person who sincerely told me that he had loved me since he was young. It would be a lie to say that I was not moved. I met Nathaniel's gaze. Why do we have to be together? I've seen too many love stories that ended in vain. They started out vigorous and ended quietly. Young love will eventually lead to mutual disquiet. It's enough to have a beautiful memory of each other, isn't it? I am too afraid to witness the light disappearing in a person's eyes. Ethan Carter was like this before, and I don't want Nathaniel to become the next Ethan Carter. Nathaniel just smiled and shook his head. Arya, don't rush to sentence me to death, we have a long way to go. The car drove slowly and finally arrived at the destination. Nathaniel and I stood in front of the car looking at each other in silence. A cold wind blew and I shivered. Nathaniel naturally took off his coat and put it on my shoulders. At this time, a beam of strong light pierced towards us. I looked closely and it was Ethan Carter. Why is he here? He looks like he has been waiting for a long time. Ethan Carter got out of the car angrily and slammed the door loudly. He came over and punched Nathaniel in the face. Blood was faintly flowing in front of me and I panicked and ran over to block Nathaniel. Carter, Ethan, are you crazy? Arya, is this your new client? Are you specifically looking for rich people to stick with you? Are you a slut? Nathaniel rushed up and wrestled with him. I am a bitch. If I wasn't, I wouldn't have been so devoted to you for so many years. After a moment, Ethan Carter sneered, his tone full of sarcasm. When did you hook up with him? He even came back from country just for you. Arya, you were really charming. When you were with me, were you thinking about how to seduce him? Carter, Ethan, you bastard. I slapped him hard with all my strength. When are you coming to get the things you left with me? After being slapped by me, Ethan Carter calmed down instead. Lost it. I said calmly. Where are your flowers? Hydrangeas, roses, jasmine. Aren't you coming back to water them? I don't want it anymore. You can do whatever you want with it. I continued to speak expressionlessly. What about me? Do you still want me? I remained silent. Ethan Carter nodded bitterly. Oh, Arya, you have such a cruel heart. After that night, Ethan Carter never came to see me again. Nathaniel started to pursue me fiercely. Daniel Wright joked to me, you are really good. You won our general manager so quickly. Haven't I promised him yet? I retorted. I don't think you can hold on for a few more days. It's impossible for you not to be tempted by a handsome Quinny like this. Hey, by then you'll be our boss lady. I won't bother you anymore. Daniel Wright smiled at me ambiguously. Nathaniel smiled and handed me a bouquet of rhododendrons and I hurriedly took it. During this period, Nathaniel sent me a bouquet of azaleas every day. I was a little surprised. Why did he send azaleas? Wouldn't roses be more appropriate? Do you like it? I nodded shyly but still asked the question in my mind. Because the flower language of the azalea is, I belong to you forever. One day a long time later, Nathaniel and I were already very old. I had forgotten too many things, but I could still recall the scene of that day. The sun shines on him, giving him a layer of gold. He just smiles at me with surging love in his eyes, nothing else. Time also stops for us, as if we can grow old together just like this. I have spent the first half of my life searching for a one-of-a-kind love, and now I have it. Arya, Arya. My eyelids became heavy and I heard Nathaniel calling me anxiously. Then I opened my eyes and found myself lying in a hospital bed. Arya, you finally woke up. You scared me to death. What's wrong with me? You are pregnant. The doctor said you have been pregnant for 2 months. Nathaniel's words were like a bolt from the blue. It had been exactly 2 months since Ethan Carter and I broke up, and this child was Ethan Carter's. Please arrange an abortion for me. I closed my eyes and stopped talking. I unexpectedly met Ethan Carter in the hospital corridor. He was squatting on the ground with his head in his hands. When he saw Nathaniel supporting me coming towards him, he stumbled towards me as if he saw a savior. Arya, I remember that you also have type A blood. Can you do a matching test with me? Can you donate a kidney to Vanessa Reed? Seeing that I looked pale, he added with a sob. I've inquired about it. 1 kidney won't affect your life. Arya, please save Vanessa Reed. Why? I will marry you. As long as you agree to donate, we will get married right away. Ethan Carter's eyes were full of hope. Nathaniel, who was standing aside, finally couldn't bear it anymore and pushed him to the ground, shaking his fist at his face. Did you know that Arya is pregnant? She's been pregnant for 2 months. You hurt her so badly, and now you shamelessly come to ask her to donate a kidney to your fiancé. Are you still human? Ethan Carter got up, his face covered in blood, and he grabbed my wrist excitedly. Is what he said true? Arya, we have a child. I nodded indifferently. Before Ethan Carter could even smile, I poured a bucket of cold water on him. I have an abortion scheduled today. You want to abort our child? Why? Ethan Carter widened his eyes and looked at me in disbelief, his eyes full of accusation. A child should be the fruit of the love between parents. The little love we had before has long since disappeared. What reason does he have to come into the world? Also, someone like you is not worthy of being his father. Get out. Nathaniel kicked Ethan Carter, who was sitting on the ground with a pale face. When I turned around, I heard a heart-wrenching cry from behind me. I was surprised that Vanessa Reed asked me to meet him. The first thing Vanessa Reed said to me in the coffee shop was, Ethan Carter doesn't want me anymore. I was a little confused. Not long ago, Ethan Carter came to me to ask me to donate a kidney for Vanessa Reed. How can you just say you don't love someone nowadays? He said that he has seen his heart clearly, and the only person he has ever loved in his life is you. I always thought that as long as I nodded, Ethan Carter would always stay by my side. Just like when we were kids, I played the princess and he played my knight. The night I came back from the hospital, I confessed my love to him. But he pushed me away. That was the first time I saw him so helpless, like a child who had done something wrong. He slapped himself like crazy. That night he hugged me, but he kept repeating your name. Later he learned to numb himself with alcohol and was drunk all day. When I went to see him yesterday, he fell to the ground and stopped breathing. The doctor said it was a transient shock caused by alcohol poisoning. He almost died. Vanessa Reed's eyes were red and he looked at me bitterly. Uncle Carter forced him to marry me, but he didn't want to and broke off relations with the Carter family. He said that he would never marry me even if he died. He only had a brotherly and sisterly love for me, and he only loved. I interrupted Vanessa Reed at the right time. You are wrong. Ethan Carter doesn't love any of us. He only loves himself. What he is best at is squandering when he gets something and regretting after losing it. I met Vanessa Reed's eyes frankly. I used to be very self-conscious and sensitive. I envied her for being able to easily gain Ethan Carter's favor. I had been depressed, unwilling, and desperate. Now the time has passed without a trace. I have let it go long ago. Let the bitterness of the past go with the wind. We should all keep moving forward. Vanessa Reed wiped his tears and remained silent for a while. I decided to go back to country A. There are better medical resources there which may help my condition. I don't want to stay in this city that makes me sad, and I probably won't come back again. I felt a little emotional and watched Vanessa Reed leave. When I came out of the mall, I found Nathaniel was already waiting at the door. I ran over to hug him excitedly. Have you been waiting for a long time? No, I just arrived. Nathaniel touched the top of my head and helped me tuck my hair behind me.